We have to accept, Ellen.
Before she can participate, we need.
Okay, so we can.
Yes, not yet.
All right, so Councilwoman Robinson, we know you're there. We need, we need Mr. Donald, here before we can accept your participation. And so as soon as he comes, he said he'll be a few minutes late. So as soon as he comes, then we'll officially accept Ms. Robertson into the meeting. In the meantime, though, we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll circle back and vote on the things that we need to vote on once Mr. Donald arrives. As is our custom, we'll go around the room introducing ourselves, starting at the table, and then we'll go over to the corner where Mr. Hernandez is and work our way around the room. Just simply let us know who you are and what organization you're representing. And if you're here for GRTC, you don't need to say that if you're a GRTC employee. I'm Nelson, representing Rico County on this board.
I'm John Dickinson. I'm here for Neil, just advising the board.
Dan Schmidt in Rico County.
Dave Anderson, Chesterfield.
Barb Smith, Chesterfield.
Nicole Jones, City of Richmond.
Terrell Hughes, Henrico County.
Cheryl Adams.
Jim Engel, Chesterfield County.
Tashikia Harris.
And Joan. Shannon Swift.
Anthony Butler.
Ashley Potter.
Michael Burke. Jonathan Zarella.
Adrian Torres.
Joe Dillard.
Timothy Martin.
Bird.
Susan. Tommy Thompson. Sheree Ruffin, RideFinders.
Oh, Sarah Keen, resident.
And last, at RBA.
All right, good morning again. Ashley, we have a public, do we have public comments? Okay. Yes, go ahead and turn it over to you.
Morning to the board or chair.
Morning.
You have one public comment this morning. It comes from Rick Fauner. The portion he labeled as a statement for the record will be read aloud this morning. The remainder of his comment will be included in the official record as well. Statement for the record, the instruction to quote, not hesitate to call us, end quote, is an insult when your agents are hanging up on riders. The promise to quote, reply within 5 business days, end quote, has been broken twice over. The lack of basic formatting in your automated messaging is a direct reflection of the lack of attention given to the rider experience. I'm requesting that the board investigate why leadership is insulted from citizen feedback and why a 20-day delay, and why a 20-day delay in responding to staff misconduct is considered acceptable at GRTC.
All right, thank you. Anyone here to speak from the public? All right, you are? Ma'am, you want to speak? Okay, all right. So come on up and just tell us name and who you're representing, or name and locality.
Sit here, or?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that you're in the, yes, there you go, yeah.
Good morning, my name is Stefan DuPont. I've lived in Richmond for almost 4 years, and at this point I call it home. I try to take the pulse and the 5 as often as I can for leisure and sometimes for work. I want to talk to GRTC's board about zero fare. I'm originally from South Florida. To say that transit isn't a viable option there is a bit of an understatement. People who ride the bus back home often do so because they have no other choice, and they have to walk large distances in the constant heat and humidity to get where they're actually wanting to go, which is something I think a lot of people would depend on GRTC can relate to. One thing different about Richmond, though, is zero fare. It opens up the idea of using transit to people who had never considered it before. I went to Georgia Tech, and the convenience of the campus bus system made it so I never needed a car my entire time there, even in a city as car-centric as Atlanta. But zero fare is increasingly at risk. I read a recent political article saying that the Trump administration is planning on cutting federal funding to cities that provide zero fare services. Now more than ever, GRTC needs to emphasize to people how convenient zero fare makes riding the bus and what they might lose this policy. I'm hoping that the board considers doing extensive advertising about zero fare. It's always surprising to me how I run into people who have no idea that GRTC is free almost 6 years later. To keep something as important as race, we need strong popular support, and I think that starts with focusing on public awareness. If it were me, I'd have a decal on every bus advertising zero fare, the transit app, and a flyer at every poll station and every shadow box for the other bus. Which is one of the few cities that succeeded in its transit ridership post-COVID, due in no small part to the fact that it's free. It would break my heart to see it go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Good. Yes, ma'am. Nope. Go back. Just go back. There you go. Perfect. You're good. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Keene. I am a Richmond resident. My favorite routes are the 1 and the 14 because they take me from my home into the city, which I love so much. Twice in the past few months, I have done something that I had swore I'd given up, which was to rely on a transfer. The first time was actually the November board meeting, which I wasn't able to make. And the second time was a few weeks ago when I planned to take the bus to work. My route was to take the 1 to the 9th and Broad, walk to 18th and Marshall to catch the 5, which would drop me right at the front door to my office. The trip would take an hour and 20 minutes. In planning my route the night before, I chose to take the 1 earliest so that even if I missed my transfer, I could wait until the next 5 bus and still make it to work on time. So the morning of, I rushed to say goodbye to my family and I booked it to stop 694 to catch the 1. It takes me about 12 minutes to walk there. I was 2 minutes early. I sat on the bench. I checked the transit app. I texted automated number. Both said the bus was scheduled to arrive. I waited 5 minutes, still in a bus. I looked down Chamberlain, no bus coming. So I checked the app. I go through all of this and I'm realizing that I'm not going to make it to work on time because the bus that I was originally planning to catch was not going to arrive. So now it says next bus will arrive in 15 minutes. Based on the delay, I would miss both connections. I had prepped for, so I rushed home with just another 12 minutes. Half an hour of walking and stressing to and from my home, now wasted time. I spent a precious 20 minutes with my family and then called a $12 Lyft so that I could get to work on time. I paid another $12 to get home. That's $24 plus $6 in tip. So on that day, the bus cost me 30 minutes with my family and $30, and also a few tears, if I'm being honest. We have more work to do if we want to make transit in the city fare free. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Any other public comments? All right. I turn the floor over to our executive.
Good morning, everyone. I'll go through, I have quite a few things. First off, we want to recognize our employees of the month for the month of February, March. I forget what it is. First up is microtransit operator Tashika Harris. And the person that submitted Tashika said that she's a selfless employee, always willing to help coworkers and support them by providing insight and knowledge about the microtransit division. One day, Operator Harris was at dispatch and witnessed a new operator who was so upset that they were considering quitting the job. Operator Harris pulled the new operator aside, listened to the concerns, calmed them down, and addressed their concerns. The new operator was able to go out on their run and continues to be worked successfully at GRTC to this day. So we want to recognize Operator Harris. Service. Our next two are not here. Operator Bracy. On February 2nd, on a cold, snowy evening, Operator Bracy quickly volunteered to take his bus to Wickham Court. Fire department officials requested a bus to serve as a temporary shelter for fire evacuees until the Red Cross arrived. Operator Bracy arrived within minutes, shared his food, and provided a safe and welcoming environment for the evacuees. And if you know Operator Bracy, he always has a lot of food with him, so it's not surprising that he shared his food with them. So we want to thank him for his service on February 2nd and all the other days that he's here. And the last employee of the month is our general utility, Brenda Phelan. Working with others, Brenda moved quickly to support a coworker who was experiencing a medical event. Brenda quickly assessed the situation and immediately aided to ensure the coworker's safety. Throughout the situation, actions were coordinated, resulting in a positive outcome for the coworker in distress. Brenda's actions, along with two other coworkers, were heroic in every way that day. So we want to thank her for her service as well. So we want to thank the 3 Employee of the Month. Next up, I want to announce a retirement. I want to recognize Miss Ann Jones. Ann. Ann began her journey in 1997 with our paratransit service. Her commitment and steady reliability has helped shape the GRTC care family for nearly 3 decades. Over the years, she's had many different roles, and we want to celebrate her dedication and unwavering commitment to GRTC's care family, as well as GRTC in general. Congratulations to Ann on a remarkable career, and best wishes for your retirement. While we're talking about our care service, I also want to recognize We Drive You, who's our current contractor. They have received an award for exceptional customer service. So in recognition of 2026 National Transit Employee Appreciation Day, they were awarded for exceptional service as reflected in positive feedback from their customers. So we appreciate their hard work and dedication to delivering a safe, reliable service. So other things other than what's on the agenda. Sorry, guys. Regarding the rodeo, so last weekend, the state rodeo was held, and we had a team of 4 operators and a maintenance staff, a team of 3, and they competed. And I am happy to say that operator Keon Brown placed 2nd overall in the state rodeo, and our maintenance team placed 3rd. So I told him we need to bring that trophy home next. This month marks 1 year for our safety program, which includes our public safety officers and our public safety ambassadors. Over that year, safety-related incidents across the system have declined by about 50%, and fewer situations requiring us to contact the Richmond Police or the Henrico Police Department. So the efforts of the officers and the ambassadors are strengthening the support for our operators and creating a safer transit environment for everyone. So we are continuing with that program, and we continue to make it a success and make sure our system is safe. I want to provide an update on service performance. So as you all are aware, on February 22nd, we implemented the service adjustments to better align our schedules with our staffing. So since then, we are seeing early improvements in reliability. On-time performance for the week directly after the change averaged 70.6%, which was up from 64.8% during the same week that last year. So we've had several days with no service cancellations. We heard this morning from a customer who had an issue, and that was before we adjusted the schedule. So, but we've had several days with no service cancellations. And when we do have cancellations, they are generally isolated rather than widespread like they were before. So we're continuing to rebuild our workforce. We currently have 16 operators or trainees in training. They're scheduled to graduate in April. And we have another class starting next week, the 23rd on that Monday. And we also are scheduling our April classes and potentially having 2 classes in April. And moving forward, we will always have a class so that we don't enter into this same situation. So that's the plan for that. Last week, our TAP program, Transit Access Partnership, brought the community together for a fundraiser at Chipotle. So we were there between the hours of 4 and 8, and Chipotle gave 25% of every sale during that time. So we were happy to have the support. A lot of people came out because it was actually the Transit Access Partnership Program. So we were thrilled about that. And March 27th, we'll have another fundraiser at Benchtop Craft, which is on Hull Street. So, and that's actually celebrating the 6th year of us being fare free. So we want to mark that that year, the 6th year, and celebrate the impact that it's had on riders across the region. And last thing I want to talk about is CBTA funding. And I'm sure most of you have heard that we were awarded $27 million from CBTA to advance 3 major projects. $15 million for our Pulse Western extension, $10 million for our downtown transfer station, and $2 million for dedicated transit lanes along East Broad Street as part of the future north-south corridor. So we are excited about that, and this funding will help advance those plans, and that we're one step closer to getting those things done. So we want to thank CBTA for their support, and thank each of you for your support, and that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam CEO. A lot of good stuff. So thank you, and I like the fact that we're doing the reports at the beginning, so we can give it the due time that it is warranted. So it's always good to hear from you. We're going to skip our approval of minutes for a couple minutes, waiting on another board member to show up. Consent agenda. You guys have the information. 17 bus replacement. MCI additional items, financial auditing services, 457B plant updates. And so Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Zenzarella, and Mr. Hernandez and Mr. Zenzarella are here. Anyone have any questions about any of the consent agenda items?
Mr. Chairman, I want to bring to your attention one change in the financial auditing services.
Okay.
When we covered this during the committee, we said that there were 2, but we actually had 3.
Okay.
The third one did not advance to the oral presentations, but I did want to acknowledge that we did have 3 instead of 2.
Okay. All right. All right. Anyone have any questions? All right. So we'll vote on the consent agenda once the person comes here. Development update. Barb, you have anything from the facility committee?
Yeah, the development committee met last Thursday and received an overview of the draft expansion service funding allocation framework. That's the document that'll help guide cost participation for new or expanded service. The document includes some guidance on determining if the service is regional or local, so at these ends of the spectrum, or if it's somewhere in between. It includes 3 tiers for cost assignment. So tier 1 is a service that's the most regional, and tier 3 is a service that's the most local. So if you're tier 1, the locality would participate in cost as drafted between 0% or 30% of the cost. In tier 3, which would be more local, the locality would participate 70% to 100%. And it may not just be for localities, it include institutions or businesses that might want service. So even with the tiers, in tier 2, it's somewhere in between the tier 1 and tier 3. So that percentage fluctuates, but there's some guidance in there to evaluate the services on different criteria, such as geographic scope, jurisdictional coverage, ridership, integration with the existing network, equity and access, primary beneficiaries, consistency with adopted plans, funding availability, and sustainability. So the draft proposes that staff would evaluate the service against this criteria and the definitions in the policy, and then present that to the development committee. And the development committee would determine where the service falls between regional and local, and that cost split or the funding split, and then make a recommendation to the full board. So that is still being reviewed and discussed by development. Hopefully we'll be able to bring that to the full board maybe next month. It's important for sustainability. You know, we've got all those grants that are looming, and we want to make sure that we've got this in place before we sign agreements to get forward with any of that work. We also received a briefing on the FY27 through 28 Regional Public Transportation Plan. The Central Virginia Transportation Authority requires this annual public transportation plan be developed in collaboration with the TPO and be consistent with the Transit Strategic Plan. And it outlines how CVTA funds will be spent in the upcoming year. So staff indicated that FY27, the funding would be used to maintain existing service levels. But they're currently working on evaluating the network, and they have a transit network design workshop scheduled in June to get some input to help inform FY28. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. So you may have staff attending that workshop in June, and it's a 3-day workshop. It should be pretty informative. Jarrett Walker's putting that on. And I expect that regional public transportation plan will come to the board for approval in May. That's all I have. Any questions?
Questions for such an incredible, you do such a great job. It's almost like you like staff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right?
all right, hearing no questions. Mr. Engel, finance.
Finance Committee reviewed the 4 items on the consent agenda with the recommendation to approve to the full board when we get to that point, hopefully here in a few minutes. We also received an update on the FY27 budget, which will be presented in April. And then we reviewed the January 31st financials. We didn't see anything of concern. There was some revenues that haven't come in yet because some expenses haven't come in yet, but we expect all that to stay on track. And that financial report for January is at the end of the report that's in your tablet. That's a good summary of it. You have anything else to add? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We're at the board chair's report.
You're waiting on a guest. I got a question that was Chairman helps you.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
on the topic of the public comment today, I just got a question about services with the improvement from 60 to 70 is fantastic. I understand the changes. The app is the question. Can someone explain to me how, is it possible that a service interruption, a person is checking the app and it says it's coming? Is there a misalignment somewhere?
There was, I'm gonna allow Dexter to speak to that.
Yeah, and Dex, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I guess my issue is, like, we all understand that the interruptions happen, but how do we best translate that to the person that's waiting? Is there something with technology that we can help improve with? I'm sure it's pinging a bus or doing something, but.
Exactly. So it's connected to the buses and the scheduling that's in our Caddy system.
Yeah.
So depending on how those trips are canceled or updated within the Caddy based on the trips, is how it reports to the app. So one of the things we're looking at is doing an internal review process of how to improve that cancellation. So if a bus is not there or this trip is canceled, that it also gets canceled in the Caddy system correctly, and that will translate up to the app.
Which will translate in real time. So it is possible right now, if a human doesn't make the adjustment, or then that bus looks like it's still coming on the app.
So the system does it. So basically.
Got you.
So that the schedule.
But a person could change the schedule, which would then trigger the automated app to make the adjustments. That's cool. Thank you. And I think from my point, that's the best service we could get. Like, if a bus is going to be late or not on time, we get it. But so the user could know in real time, anything we can do technology wise to assist with that would be a goal, I imagine.
Yeah, we heard that feedback, and that's why we are working to take that info.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
It's the internal projects that we also have. That's the system.
So that maybe it could happen automatically.
Yes.
Like it is pinging the GPS and it takes it off the app. That's cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you, man, for your time. Sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to take the extra minute, but thank you for the.
No, that was good. And so do you mind just because the first piece that Ashley,
Read.
read and spoke to, I know Mr. Dillard had responded. So you mind speaking to that real quick?
Absolutely. So once we received that complaint, both Kevin and I did our research. We had not received anything regarding that. So Joe responded to let the individual know that we were researching their complaints, but that we were ignoring them. I didn't get anything. Evan didn't get anything. And I think in the end, it ended up that that person had the wrong email addresses. So we never did receive any of the complaints, but we have addressed that person.
So I just wanted you to know, colleague, that staff was on that. So, good morning, sir. I make a motion that we accept, Councilwoman Robertson into the meeting. She could not be here because of, personal reasons. So can I get a second? A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion to accept the minutes from February
Second.
10th? Moved and second, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda. Did anyone have questions? I know we had the, update of, we had 3 auditing, firms. One didn't make it to the oral part. But other than that, I think the rest of the information was shared. I think Mr. Engel let us know that actually went through this in finance. All right, anybody have any questions about consent agenda? All right, motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll have an executive session today. My friends, I know you're all upset about that. Any other business? All right, hearing none, meeting adjourned.
What?